Think you know everything you need to know about generational curses? Think again. We've been lied to. Most of the time when you speak about a generational curse, people, the first thing that comes to their mind is a witch then put a spell on the family, or someone went to a witch doctor, or there's been some type of voodoo. But that's not the case. Let's talk about the truth. Let's debunk the truth about generational curses so you can be in the know and so you can break the cycles. First and foremost, a generational curse is basically family karma or ancestral karma that has been passed down from generation after generation. The matriarch, the mother, we are responsible for passing down DNA. We are the ones that have the two X chromosomes, and the males have the X and the Y. The male is only responsible for the choosing of the sex of the fetus. So when it comes to the sex of the child, the man is the one that influences that. We as the females are the ones that carry what is called mitochondrial genome. That is only passed down through the matriarch, which is the mother. Only the mother can pass that on. A male cannot pass that on to his child. So we are responsible for the bloodline issues. We are responsible for the DNA. We are responsible for the mental health of our children, because mental illness does run in the family. I got some notes I took. I just don't want to leave anything out because I got so much to cover in a little fraction of time because I took a break. But I just want to make sure that I got everything down here. So with that being said, it is the mother's responsibility to make sure that she is in the right mental mind frame and mind construct when she's having children. In ancient Taoism and Eastern practice, the woman has to have at least 26 days of happiness before the man will conceive a child with her. It was a prerequisite that she was supposed to have at least almost 30 days of being fully happy and full of bliss. Because remember, we as women, we're the ones that carry the emotions, and we pass those emotions that we're feeling in our pregnancy down to our children. And so a lot of us have lost a lot along the way. So much has gotten lost in translations and translation. And we don't come to find out our ugly until we find a partnership. And then that's when it all comes out. You might, be dealing with a partner who blames you for everything. They never take responsibility for what's going on in the inside, but they blame you, the outside person, for why their world is in disarray, which is never true. It's about taking your own responsibility, dealing with your own funk, okay, and transmuting that stuff. And a lot of times people don't even know. Okay, we have a bunch of unconscious adults walking around still thinking that their ex-wife is the reason why they drink, or their ex-wife may be the reason why they can't stop watching pornography or drinking or doing alcohol or drugs, when really that was passed on genetically. You, no matter what, cannot erase your bloodline. Now, there are some modern technology that you can adapt to or incorporate into your lifestyle, like epigenetics. You may want to look into that. Epigenetics helps you to change your soul DNA. It helps you to change your physical DNA by getting rid of the old programming and reprogramming your mind. Because what you think about, you bring about. And a lot of the dysfunctional traits, characteristics, belief systems have been passed on through the mother, through the womb, for both sides of the family. It's really amazing how a lot of times we think that someone put voodoo on us or juju, and it's not. It's not a voodoo or juju. It's really a generational curse, aka family karma. Karma is like a bank account. Matter of fact, karma is a universal bank account. You can withdraw from that bank account or you can deposit into that bank account. When you make withdrawals, you become indebted, which is called cosmic debt, and you have to pay that back. And the way that you pay that back is about, transforming whatever is negative into a positive. You can make deposits into the karmic bank account, and this is called dharma, which is good karma. Okay, I'm not going to get so detailed to where I lose you guys and get off the subject, but I'm just explaining this because I find it and I deem it necessary. So when you do all of the good favors, all of the good stuff, let's say if you're a married woman or a male and someone tries to elicit sex and you turn that down, that is a good karmic deposit into your karma bank account, because you have fidelity, you have faithfulness, you have that positive energy around the vortex of your marriage, and you also set up protection for your marriage from the third party energies coming to steal from the light or to steal from the relationship. Because a lot of times people don't start to have problems until they get third parties involved, whether it's physically, whether it's mentally, baby. It don't matter, because the mind is just as strong as the physical. Okay, we're going to start from 0 point. 0 point is the spiritual realm. And then you get to that 1 point, which is matter. I don't want to forget. So, because there's so much I want to cover and I only have a little bit of time. So, a lot of times daughters are really impacted by the generational karma, because we're the ones that are the life givers. We are all a part of, let's talk about this in spiritual context, the cosmic womb. This is where God's source is. God's source is the feminine aspect of God. God is an androgynous being. God is neither male or female, but both. And so are we. In the spirit form, we're both male and female. And we have those aspects that are within us in our physical body. With that being said, we're all birthed from out of this cosmic womb, the whole universe, the whole solar systems, the planets, the stars, etc. And so we are all still a part of the matriarch or the cosmic womb, which is feminine nature, feminine aspect, feminine within its kind. And so we have a mother, father, God, and not just a father, God. Okay, we both have the mother and then we have the father. And a lot of times people say, well, the mother is Mother Earth, and, where God is in heaven, he's the father. No, honey. No, and no again. Yes, the earth is our mother, because the earth, we have been birthed here and she is here to protect us and to help us. But let's talk about this on a bigger and a grand scheme that is larger than just limiting us to the earth, because this is not our home. We are not from here. We are just temporary aliens passing through this residence. That's in the Bible. We are just temporarily passing through. We're foreigners in this land. This is not where we came from, but this is where we came to. A lot of us have incarnated from many other planets, okay, in spiritual form. We didn't take on a physical body, but we took on a celestial body or an ethereal body, okay? So the way that you go about breaking these generational karmas and not passing them down to your children is by changing your behavioral pattern, changing your thinking, the way that you think about money. There were so many things that I had to change when it came to me awakening. There is something that a lot of people do not completely understand. You can be awakened, you can be conscious, but it does not mean that you're going to reach that level of enlightenment. Because if you're not doing occult practices like rituals, spells, and all of that, you will never reach that point of enlightenment that you need for yourself, because that's how you transform and transmute the outer world to match your inside, because that's what it's all about. You are the transformer, but as the transformer, you help things to materialize into the physical world. This is the reason why in tarot you have the Fool, which is the 0 point, and then you have the Magician, which is the next card, which is the person that takes everything that is in the spiritual realm and transforms it over into physical matter, which is the number 1. And it's really important. There's a lot of people in the conscious community that choose not to have children because they realize that that's a way of passing down generations after generations of things that our ancestors did not deal with onto your offspring. So they selectively choose not to have children because they look at children as karma being passed down, which is very true. You have to be a very tapped in, tuned in, and turned all the way on in your God frequency person when it comes to the responsibility and the heavy weight that you put on your own shoulder, whether you're conscious or unconscious of it, when it comes to having children, because you do pass down whatever you didn't take care of, whatever you didn't work on. That's a given. That's already going to be passed down. But what about your mother and your father? And what about their mother? And then so forth and so on, going back into at least 7 generations. So whatever your ancestors did not take care of, you, whether you know it or not, unbeknownst to yourself, you end up passing that rubbish down to your offspring. And then your offspring, they are finding it hard to get a job, or they're finding it hard to keep a husband, because they don't realize that divorces run very high in your bloodline, because people are not coming together in conscious partnerships to resolve the problem. And so you're just basically recycling those same problems over and over and over and over again, generation after generation. This is the reason why the Bible speaks about the generational curses lasting for about 7 years, because it usually takes about that long before someone comes along like myself who says, there's something about this that I don't like, that I need to change. And then I, as a conscious person, and my divinity or my sovereignty chooses to make that change. And so my offspring and their offspring, they get a chance as a byproduct. They get a chance to benefit from my spiritual transformation and enlightenment. See how that goes? I do have a training that I have put together that is called Karma Release. In the karma release, I'm going to teach you how to release karma, how to clear your bloodline issues. This is a prerequisite for you to be able to come into union with your twin flame. You have to clear the karma, your maternal side and your paternal side, on both sides. You can't just do one without the other. Because remember, as a woman, you are the incubator. You are the one that is carrying the seed. You are the one that is carrying the DNA. For both the male and the female, you're passing it on to both. And so it has to become your responsibility. This is the reason why a lot of divine feminine healing is at play right now. It's not because divine feminines are better than divine masculines. It's because the healing is our responsibility, not shying away from the work that needs to be done with the divine masculine, because he needs to do the work too. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, though, the healing starts with the divine feminine, because she is the one that passes down the traumas, the alcoholism, the divorce rates, the rape. She's the one that passes all of those traumas down in her womb. And whatever she's going through, whatever she's feeling in her mental and in her emotional body, is what she also passes down to her children. So this is the reason why it is up to us as divine feminines to do the work. Because our children, our offspring, they depend heavily upon our awareness and our higher consciousness. They depend on our healing in order to resolve those issues so those do not become their issues. I have 3 different generations of children, 3 sets of children, and they all are different. Each generation think different, act different, because on each levels I can see my consciousness in them. And sad to say, the first set was messed up because I was raised in limited conditioning. And that was the basis of how I thought. And I can see some of those patterns in my children that are the first generation. The second generation, they were, and they are, a little bit chill more than the first, because again, my consciousness and how I evolved as a person 15 years ago is totally different than how I evolved 5 years ago. And so now my younger 2 are very tapped in, tuned in, and turned all the way on in their God and Goddess frequency, because that's where my mentality was. I was in my sovereignty, I was in my divinity when they were born. And so they have a higher consciousness. And the way that they think is totally not of this world. It's totally out of this world. And it's very spiritual. And they love to meditate. They love to pray. I don't have to tell them to do either or. They do it on their own. My daughter burns incense on her own. Whatever incense that she's drawn to for that day, she'll burn it. And her life is a lot better. Her anxiety is a lot better, because when she was born, she had a lot of anxiety, because when I was pregnant with her, I was really stressed out, but I was conscious. I was reading a lot. I was taking in a lot of knowledge, and that helped her. That helped her to a higher order and a higher degree. So for the karma release, it's a really simple training. It's on a video. I'll send it to you. You can do it at your own leisure. You can listen to it. Please make sure that you follow the guidelines in order to release the karma, because honestly, I do this for a living, and I'm giving you this information away. And this is something that can help you in your relationship dynamic. This is something that can help you in your life. This can help you to create generational wealth, which I decided to do on a separate video because of my time. And I'm going to offer that for $44.44. And yeah, you guys, let's change the world, okay? We are the nucleus of the community in order to make the change. And it starts with one person. One person can lead 1,000, and 1,000 can lead 10,000, and so forth and so on. I'm going to go ahead and get off of here, you guys. I have to go back to work. Namaste.